What's up YouTube and welcome to the Anabolic Outpost. Today we have another recipe tutorial with yet again a spin-off of one of the most versatile foods we have at our disposal. Of course, as you can see from the title and thumbnail, this food that I am talking about are oats, specifically oatmeal, presenting to you my Cookie Blaster BISCOFF oatmeal. This recipe has 3 different cookie aspects, coming with the BISCOFF cookies themselves, the low-calorie BISCOFF cookie butter spread that I made a couple weeks back, and also the cookies and cream protein powder, all coming together, which will be sure to satisfy that cookie craving while also giving you a well-balanced breakfast or whatever time you decide to eat this at. And with less than 10 minutes from prep until final product, it also fills out the convenient aspect that we all always look for in these anabolic recipes. Of course though, before we get into making it, let me just run through the list of ingredients that you will need. The first ingredient here is the cookies and cream protein powder that I was just talking about, of course as always from PE Science. And when it comes to protein oats, there really isn't any other flavors that compete. Of course you can't have oatmeal without the oats, doesn't matter what type of oats you got, always just buy the cheapest version. Fat-free milk, of course you could substitute it with your milk of choice. BISCOFF cookies, of course I will be using 2 of them. This right here is my low-calorie BISCOFF cookie butter spread. I just posted this recipe pretty recently as well, but if you missed that one, I'll link it at the top of the description. It's super easy to make just like this one. Cinnamon, and you will also just need a pinch of salt as well. To start the recipe off, go ahead and grab yourself a microwave-safe bowl and place it on your digital scale. Essentially, what I am doing is making the oats themselves first and then adding all the other toppings. I've messed around with adding the toppings prior to microwaving it, and I have seen other people do this. I do think it loses some flavor though if you do this, and it comes out a lot drier than just adding all the ingredients afterwards. For this single serving of oats here, I'm going to weigh out 45 grams of the oats and then pour in 200 grams of the milk. I may be a little bit heavier on the milk than some of the oatmeal recipes that you've used before, but especially because of the protein powder, you need a little bit of excess liquid at the end to help it dissolve. You could go ahead and just throw in a pinch of salt and give it a quick stir so that all of the oats are submerged in the water, and then this bowl is microwave ready. Go ahead and microwave it for a total of 3 minutes. In the meantime though, while we're waiting for that to get done, you could go ahead and take your 2 BISCOFF cookies. At the end you'll want a cookie crumble effect, and that is what we are achieving by smashing these BISCOFF cookies. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fine powder, you could have some chunks in there as well. But for the most part, you should be able to have a cookie crumble layer on top with the BISCOFFs. If you have a kitchen hammer, of course you could use that by just placing those in the Ziploc bag and smashing the cookies. However, of course you could get creative with this and find your own way to smash these cookies. Rolling into this next segment here, you can see the beautifully microwaved oats. Absolutely just microwaved to perfection here with a little bit of excess liquid at the bottom, as I mentioned earlier. A crucial aspect to making this recipe delicious and smooth. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a splash of cinnamon. It really should be 1 gram, but most digital scales can't accurately measure the full gram. So just give yourself a little sprinkle and it should be all good. Cookies and cream protein powder will go on top of that, measuring that out at 20 grams. There's really a variety of different flavors that you could use in this recipe. Just a plain old chocolate or vanilla works great as well. I'm sure a cinnamon would be good. So this is definitely not a recipe that you have to stress if you don't have the exact flavored protein powder I'm recommending. And the last ingredient is the BISCOFF cookie butter spread. I'll be adding these in 2 layers, stirring 1 layer in and then having a beautiful drizzle on top after that. I'm going to mix 16 grams into the oatmeal itself and then another 16 grams which I will drizzle on top. All the ingredients are now in there, so we could go ahead and hit it with a mix. Doesn't have to be thoroughly mixed or anything. A spoon should do a trick. As long as all the powder is dissolved, that's all you really need to worry about. Got definitely the best part of the recipe going on top now, where the texture comes from and most of the flavor, that BISCOFF cookie flavor that we absolutely love. Just spread out a nice even layer on the top. And to finish it off here with the final topping, which is the last layer of the BISCOFF cookie butter spread. This stuff is thicker than peanut butter, especially once it's kept in the fridge. Good luck to you if you're just trying to spoon it out and try to drizzle it over the top. Probably not going to work out too good for you, but I would like to see it. Anyway, just make yourself a pastry bag by slitting a tiny hole in a Ziploc bag and feeding the BISCOFF cookie butter spread into that hole, and you should be able to get a nice drizzle by just squeezing through on it. And yes, of course I have to get a beautiful thumbnail picture with that spread on top, and there's no better way to do it by going the extra effort. But if you've ever heard the saying, look good, feel good, this applies for food as well. You're not going to be aesthetic if your food isn't aesthetic with you. Give yourself a moment to take a look at that close-up, zoom-in action with this beautiful B-roll footage going on in the background as I give you the macro breakdown for this recipe. Of course, this is a single serving of oatmeal. In total, though, it's going to be 32 grams of protein, 61 grams of carbs, and only 9 grams of fat for a total of 450 calories. A little bit heavier on the carb side than most of the recipes on there, but you can't always eat foods that are extremely high in protein. Focus on balancing out your macronutrients, and with food, everything has a time and a place. That being said, it being higher on the carbs and the protein makes a great pre-workout meal, and for somebody that trains in the morning before going to the 9 to 5 job, like 90% of the people that are watching this channel, you need quick and flexible meals, and this recipe accomplishes just that. That's the entire recipe though, shouldn't take more than 10 minutes from start to finish. If you did have any questions on how this was made, regarding substitutions, or any questions like that, leave it down in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Other than that, if you did find this recipe both helpful and delicious, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.